Hello there. Welcome to this week's workout. I call this Pilates for older adults, but really is for anybody that would like to work their form from a standing position, not go up and down them on the mat so much. So the foundation of our legs, of our body, is our feet. So we're really going to work into foot alignment and then all the way up into your hip knee alignment and then work your way up your spine so that you feel really good. There is a nice balance between effort and ease in this workout. So I really want you to feel the work, but I don't want you to really push into these exercises. I want you to feel the work, but yet the ease at the same time. And it's a really nice sweet spot once you do find it, because you're not overworking in the joint, but you're doing enough to strengthen and get flexibility in there. And you're going to feel that difference. You're going to sort of play with that in today's workout. It's going to be a lot of fun. My name's Gretchen. I'm founder of Bounce to the Core. If you're new to this community, hit that subscribe button as well as the bell next to it so you're notified whenever I'm here. I really do try to come on every week with a workout for you. And I would love you to be part of the community. So if you're ready to get started, you want to grab a squishy ball. A chair for balance. It could also be a couch, it could be a counter, it could be a wall, anything that sort of helps you when we do our balance stuff. And a mat, and you, of course. So if you're ready to get started, let's do this. So we're going to start with the ball between our ankles. All right, and if you notice, that just sort of allows us to stay really sort of aligned in our body with a hip distance apart. So I want you to face whatever sort of surface you're using, and I want you to sort of pull in and get those feet right underneath your hip bones. And just stand here for a sec. And just kind of bring your weight forward and back. And notice what happens in your body when you shift forward and back. Does your spine change at all? Is there tension at all in your back, your hips, your knees, your ankles? And then just sort of try to center the weight between the ball of your foot and your heel. And those arches are lifted up. And as you're squeezing your ball inward, I also want you to get an energy on the outside of your hip. So you're squeezing into the ball, but you're also getting the weight centered on your feet, really on the outside of the feet too. Don't forget about those. And it's going to activate those hips. So you got the outer hips and the inner hips working. And just hang out here for a few breaths. Let those shoulders slide down. And as you're sort of pulling everything inward from the outer hips inward, when your hips are turned on, it's really hard to lock the knees out. Maybe feel the hamstrings start to engage. And we're just going to draw our arms upward towards the ceiling with a long spine. And then exhale as you circle those arms around. Inhale it up. Exhale it around. Just stay long in the spine. Don't let the spinal shape change. Inhale up. Exhale down. Good. Now inhale it up. You're just going to soften your knees, let them sort of bend, and then you're going to hinge at the hip with a nice long back as you grab hold of your surface and push out through your sitting bones. You want to make sure your butt bones are right over your heels, so you might have to adjust a little bit. And as you're here, you're drawing your belly in, thinking about your long spine as you shoot out your butt bones and shoot out your head. The center is just drawing in. Good. And just hold right there. You're going to give a little bit more of a bend in the knee. And then just straighten it back up. A little bend and a little straighten. Now, as I'm straightening, I'm really kind of feeling those hamstrings engage. And what I see often is when you straighten is kind of pressing out and there's movement happening. Can you try to straighten and keep your body where it is? So really lengthen up as your feet anchor down. Shoulders stay on your back, elbows angled down for 3, for 2, for 1. And now I want you to hold those knees bent. As you squeeze your ball, see if you can find your belly. And then you're just going to come on up and find a vertical pelvis. Then reach those arms up, circle it around, and bend it back down and hold. Now from here, we're going to lift our heels up and then press them back down. And I really want you to roll through the foot nice and evenly for 3, all 10 toes getting equal love. And let's do one more for good luck, holding ourselves right there, and then just little pulses as we push out through the butt bones. For 3, make sure you're not arching the back or flexing. Can you really keep a nice long, tall back? And then stay right here. And we're just going to sort of tuck the tail, scoop that belly, and feel a nice flexion as we round the back. Find it in center, and then open up on an inhale and an extension. Come back to center, exhale as you flex it. Bring it back out, inhale as you open it. Good. Flex and open. 2 more times. Keep length in your spine. You don't want to crush into these different positions. You want to think about doing it with the longest spine, longest flexion you can make, longest extension you can make. Come back to center, draw those heels back down. We're going to let our head, neck, and shoulders just drop over our thighs. So let your head hang, look through your inner thighs. Good, and then roll it up and really just stack up the spine. Feel your hips engage here as you start to straighten. They're your power, as well as your abs, and stack up the spine. Good. I'm going to turn to you just to so you can see. You're going to lift one arm up and really stay tall in your spine and give me 3 side bends over. Try not to push through the hips. Try not to change the weight in the legs or the feet. And really make the spine lift up and over. You're going to stay there and just rotate the chest. Come back up, and we'll go the other side. I'll just put my hand on my hip, over. So before you go over, think up. And as you're going over, you're going to keep that up. That's where this strength and stretch come together. Hold right there, rotate your chest towards the floor. Come back to center and bring it back up. Good. Let's just take a nice little wide stance for a second. Sit your hips back. Press your knees out towards your pinky toes. So the knees are lined up with your second and third toes. You have your long spine as your sort of butt bones shoot back. We're just going to look over one shoulder. You'll come back to center. We'll go over the other shoulder. One more each side. Good. Come back to center. We might bring those legs just in a little bit, and we're going to take them down and bring it back up. Down and up. And I'll show you sort of the side view. So I'm hinging at the hip, bending at the knee, but the spinal shape doesn't change at all. So what I often see is sort of this, where you kind of stick back, right? Or this, and I'm exaggerating, but sort of coming down and coming up. All right. Can you really try to stay with the longest spine you can? And all you do is start to bend at the knee first, and then sit back like you have a chair behind you. You want to keep those knees just lined up with your second and third toes. And you can pick up the pace if you'd like, okay? And feel free if you want to take the ball, reach down, reach forward, down, forward. You can also reach the arms up if that's okay for your shoulders. Nice long spine for 5. I'm going to hold it down there, really stay long in length, and little presses. And aim that ball for the ground. Keep the shoulders on your back. Keep the knees wide, right over those middle toes for 3, 2, 1. Bring it up, stretch it up. Give me a little side bend. Side bend. Bring it back down. Give me a little rotation. And rotate and pull it in. Good job. We're going to take that ball right in between our thighs. Give it a good squeeze. Stay up nice and tall. We sink it back. We press it up. Same movement as before, but now you're parallel. And now we can concentrate on the hips a little bit more inward. So whenever you have the ball in between your thighs, you're working your inner thighs. Yes, you have to because it's got to hold the ball there. But what about your outer hips, your outer thighs? Can you keep those active as well? Good. Your feet are even. Try not to sickle them out or in. Really pay attention to equal weight there. And if you've got to go slower to feel that, go ahead. It doesn't pay to rush through things if you're doing it out of alignment or in a funky movement pattern. 4 more. 4, you can press the arms back. 3, if you want. 2, 1. I'm going to sit it back there and just pulse it out. You can hold your surface here. So if I just moved, I got my surface right there. How about that? For 5, 4, 3, 2, keep this. Keep squeezing. Now anchor those feet. I'm going to hold my hands here. Just lift your heels up like we did in the warm-up. Spread your toes wide. Good. And we'll pulse it out here. For 4, 3, 2. Now stay right here. All I want you to do is shift your weight so you have a vertical pelvis now. So you're straight up and down. So it's going to be a little bit more on those thighs. But again, you have the ball between your thighs, so are those outer hips working? Come on, that's your power. Hold that. Give little squeezes into the ball. 8, 7, 6, good. 5, 4, 3, 2. Now hold that. Everything's pulling in, and we have little down and up. Good. You have 8, 7, 6. You can take your hands right in front of you. You can hold your surface. Do your hips, whatever feels good. For 3, 2, we're going to stay here. And I want you to go to your lowest point, keeping the butt right under your body. All right, now you're going to stay that low as you just shift your weight back. Good. Lower the heels down. Push yourself up. Bend yourself down. Draw those heels up. Can you get a little bit lower? Stay low as you find that vertical position. Lengthen it up. Bend it down. Go a little bit lower maybe. Shift. Pull the heels down. Lift it up and bend. Lift. Vertical. You can stretch the arms up if you like. Pull them down. Hinge it back. Lower and lift. Vertical stretch. Bring it down and hinge. You have 3 more. For 3. Don't change the shape of your spine. Really keep it nice and long, but not rigid, right? You still have energy in your spine. You still want to have some flexibility, but those vulnerable areas like the low back and the neck and upper back, they tend to arch and flex on many of us. But I want you to really try to keep the integrity of your spine here. Lower those heels. Now lift them up, pulse it out, and then just alternate those heels as you pulse. 8, 7, 6. You can hold your surface if you want. 3, 2, 1. Lower those heels. Come on up. Circle it around. Give it a little shake. Good job. All right, let's get into those rotators. So we're going to take that ball in between your ankles. If you want to hold something, you can. And we're just going to turn out a little bit, okay? So giving that ball a good squeeze. All right, so now anytime it's in the middle, you have your inner thighs working, but what about those outer hips? But now they have a little bit of a turnout as you lift those heels up. Tap the heels down, lift them up. Good. Notice on your foot, are you sickling out towards the pinky toes? Are you rolling in towards the big toes too much? Can you stay centered? 4 more. 4. Now you're going to keep those heels up. We're going to keep the heels exactly where they are. Keep the ball exactly where it is. Maybe give that ball an extra little squeeze from the heels all the way to the hip. You got that? Keep that. We're going to drop it down. Hold. All right, so it's not about a crazy turnout at all. We're talking sort of a narrow V in front of you. Pull into that ball and find your hips. All we do is lengthen and lift back up. So you have your surface for balance. You can also place it on your hips or right in front of you, okay? So Our seat, one of the biggest muscles in the body, one of the laziest, right? Can you find your seat here? Don't want to over squeeze it or anything, but see how it supports you when you engage it. It almost releases your knees, right? Yeah. 4, good job. 3, try not to roll through that ball of the foot if you can. Good, now you're gonna hold it down there. Keep that, maybe lift the ball a little higher and pulse it out. So find the connection, the heels and the ball, and they go all the way up into the seat. 5 more. Good. Now go to your lowest point. Hang out there for a second. Now really just a little movement from the ball to the hip. Squeeze the ball to the hip, right? So small, so it's not like and changing and being, it's really connected and focused with lots of intention. 5 more. 5, maybe go a little bit lower. 3, 2, hold it open on 1. Good. Lengthen it all the way up and lower it down. Good job. Give it a little shake out. All right, so turn to face your surface. Take it in your left leg and give it a good hug with the back of your knee. Square off yourself in front of your surface and bend your supporting leg just a smidge so the knee is lined up with your second and third toe. And then imagine this leg as if it were still down. Would you be that square? Can you stay that square as you lift the leg up? So pretend it's even still down on the mat. Okay, so nice long spine. Hinge forward just a smidge and kick that leg back as you push through the heel. Bring the leg in, press it back. So we're trying to have a little freedom in that hip socket. So allow the leg to go forward and back. But it's not going into your back and spine, right? It's just sort of like isolating the hips from the spine. They're 2 separate joints. Quite often I see them working together. Okay, and that's what's going to cause hip and low back pain. So really focusing on the stability of that supporting leg, right? The length of your spine. And the more you can stabilize and anchor those 2 points, the more freedom in this leg. But remember, your spine isn't a rigid thing. It has life and flexibility to it. So you also want a little kind of flexibility and openness to it. You got 4, 3, 2. Hold that leg back there. Re-square. Keep your arms on your back. And then little presses back. For 5, 4. Good. 3, 2. Now keep it back there. Squeeze the heel to your seat. Got that? Little squeeze. Press back. Squeeze. Press back. Awesome. And now this isn't like you place yourself in position and just go for it. You have to constantly adjust, right? Just like an airplane has to constantly adjust. A car, you're constantly adjusting. Just like here, you're never stuck in one spot. They're minute little adjustments, but they make a difference, right? 3, 2, now hold it there on 1. We're going to hinge over a little bit more. Press that leg back a little bit more, and then little kick in. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Pull it up. Bring it down. Whatever you need to do to just shake that baby out. All right, you ready? Other side. Give it a good hug. Square it off, my friends. Roll the shoulders back, and then pull it back. Is this knee bent, lined up with your middle toes? You don't want it to go out to the side, inward. That leg's working too, right? Press back and pull in. And the more that you do this, the more you're going to have little ahas with your body. More flexibility you're going to start to see, because when you work this deep strength, flexibility actually comes from deep strength. You become more flexible as you do Pilates because you're working that inner strength. and working that length at the same time. And that's where true flexibility really happens. Watch those shoulders. Keep adjusting. I'm going to push it back there, hold it, readjust, and little kickbacks. Hold it back there, and pull the heel to your seat. Keep the thigh back there, and a little kick in, press back. Hold it back there. Now I want you to bend your supporting leg a little bit, hinge over a little bit more, pull that leg up there, little kicks up. 3, 2, 1, pull it through. Good job. Can you put that ball away just for a little bit? And let's do a nice big range. Stretch it over. We have done such little motion, and our body is meant to move, right? Move big. But you woke up all those supporting muscles, so hopefully the big movement feels delicious. One more. Maybe reach it up, dive it forward, let your body just swing down and roll it up. Don't be afraid to move. Take your arms, press them in front of you, maybe go side to side here, soften your knees. Just kind of reach through that back anyway. Your body tells you to move. Just allow it to move. Good. And then just reach those arms up, circle them around. Good. Shake it out. Woo-hoo. All right. We're not done yet. Okay, so now let's work a little bit of the side hip with a little stability. So turn out your supporting leg. This is my supporting leg. You're going to have your surface. All right, and then bring your other leg out. Now I'm going to square off my hips as I bend this leg. Look down. Make sure this knee is lined up with your second and third toe. And then just sort of come up nice and tall. And just elevate your foot as you stay up as tall as you can. We're just going to tap down and up. It's not going to be a big movement, right? There's not a lot to go to. It's just like in your hip joint. Working the side hip. 3 more. Now hold it up. So it's really about the supporting leg now, okay? So what we're going to do is we're going to bend the supporting leg, let the knee follow your second and third toe. My hips move back a little bit, and then you come back up without locking that knee. I really don't think you can lock it here when you're super engaged. Can you find the seat connection and how it anchors all the way through the foot, right? Nice long spine. Good. Let's do 3 more. 3. And we've got 2. And we've got 1. Okay, so now you're going to hold it down there and then just pulse it and feel that position. 4, 3, 2. Stay right here. We're going to send it down into your sumo squat. Now come up. Good. Down into sumo squat. Come up to that position. Just upright. Down, up. Now I'm going to allow you to do a little tilt with it. So go a little deeper and press. 4, 3, 2. You're going to keep it up there on 1. So you have a long spine on a diagonal, that leg lifted. Hold it. Now make sure your hips don't start to sink back. Keep your hips right over your legs. Little ups. For 4, 3, 2, 1, and bring it on down. Sink it back and reach and circle and shake. All right, you ready for your other side? Let's do it. I'm going to put my chair over there so my back doesn't go to you. So you're going to turn out that supporting leg, okay? Turn it out nice and tall. Find your tallness, soften your knee a little bit. That knee, when it bends, goes right over the second and third toe, okay? Find that as we lift and down. Just pay attention to how different do your sides feel. But also you've worked the other side, so both sides have already worked. So of course they're going to feel different in that sense. But is it harder to stay upright? Why do I cue that? Because it is for me on this side. 4 more. Very common, but we're trying to uniformly develop the body. That's the goal of Pilates. Just think about all those years of overworking muscles. We're so different on our sides, and Pilates really tries to get us to balance both sides and strengthen both sides. Hold it up, bend your knee, make sure the knee lines up with the second, third toe. Your hips can sink back, keep them square though. And then we come up. We go down and up. Now this side, my body likes to tilt because this hip is weaker. I want you to really try to lengthen it tall. Working with such focus and attention to detail, right? And when you practice that, you'll find it in your real life too. You'll start to notice details more. You'll be more present and aware. It's pretty cool. 2 more. Good. We'll hold it down there and then just give little pulses. We got 4, 3, 2. We're going to go down into that sumo squat. We take it down, come up, balance to that position. Take it down. Try not to sort of lean too much into it. Can you try to stay? Ooh, upright. 2 more. Sort of why you need a surface. You could try to do this without a surface, absolutely. Maybe next time you do it. Now add that little tilt over. Watch what that pelvis does. It likes to kind of sink back. So then your hip is sort of out of alignment. We want the hip to stay right over that leg. Good. Hold it up. Keep that hip over your leg and little presses. Almost, I like to think kind of like my pubic bone forward, or kind of almost bringing my tail through my legs a little bit. 4, 3, 2, 1. Is that all I did on the other side? I think. Big sumo squat. Come up, circle it around. Ooh, and give yourself a little shake. Okay, now take that leg wide, turn it out, and now bend it down. Okay, so now as we're here, we're now in more of a turnout than we were before. So now you want to keep your knees right over those middle toes, right? You might have to adjust where you put your feet. So when I talked about that middle ground between effort and ease, you don't want to go too far where you're straining your hips and they're rolling inward, your knees, you can't stay on the center of your feet. Bring it in more. Maybe don't go down as low, but find that sweet spot where you feel your hips working, but they're not like straining. All right. And then try to get your pelvis vertical. We go down, we press up, down and up. Good. And it can even be in a little bit, just a little rotation, whatever feels good for you. Okay. And if that really doesn't feel good, you can go back more to a parallel and do a sumo where you stick the hips back. Okay. I really just want to work into this rotation a little. Let's do 4 more. You can stretch those arms out, elbows up, shoulders down. 2 more. Good, hold it, and then just little presses. So a little bit of an extra weight on the outer part of your feet. Do you see what that does with the hip? So notice how the hip and foot are really connected. Okay, that's why it's really important where we're placing the balance on our feet. And as we're walking and we're doing all of our stuff, it's all connected. Now stay right here. And then can you draw your heels up just a little bit? But notice, did your knees roll in as you did that? It means your outer hips turned off. Keep those outer hips on. They like to turn off a lot. Take it down, press it up. Good, elbows up, shoulders down. Good, you have 4 more, that's it. Good, hold it down. Push your heels down. Good, and then straighten it up. Lower those arms. Toe heel yourself back in. Give it a good shake out. Good job. All right, I do feel the need for a little spinal movement, okay? So we're gonna take that ball just right in between your thighs. You're gonna face your surface, and let's get a good stretch here after all that work. Gonna dive it forward and then go with a straight back. Really just press your hips back. Lengthen your spine. Good. A little bend in your knees. And then straighten. Again, bend and straighten. Bend the knees, lift the heels, give it a little tuck. That feels good after all of that work that we did, right? Everything we've sort of done today has been with a length and straight back. Let's get some movement back in that spine. And then just allow the heels to drop. Drop your body. Good. And just sort of let it hang. Almost feel like the weight of your head just presses you down. Feel the shoulders release. The upper back release to the floor. And roll it up. Good. All right, so let's roll it down one more time. This time I want you to really try to keep your butt bones over your heels. So when you go down, can you try not to sink your hips back? Good way of doing this is keeping your hips right against a wall and rolling down and keeping those hips on the wall. All right, but here we go. We're going to reach up. Now use your outer hips. Squeeze into the ball. Feel all those hips working. Stretch it up. Anchor your feet evenly. And now use your belly to dive yourself forward. You can soften your knees. But your hips have to work here, right? Hips, seat, hamstrings, inner thighs. Those are all your hips. Good. Now roll it up. Same idea. Pull it all in. See how those hips have to help you as you come up? Try it without the ball. All right. Maybe get the heels together. Click everything together. Stretch up. Keep a little distance between your feet for balance. Now try it. See how active your hips are when we do our roll downs? Good. And roll it up. Ooh, excellent job. Good job. Give it a good shake out. How do you feel? You feel good? So this is a great workout just to come back to every time. Like sometimes when I feel like my knee is getting out of alignment because it has a little weakness to it, I'll come back to something like this and really just focus on the form of like the foot, ankle, knee, hip alignment and everything that we do. So thank you so much for being here with me today. And I look forward to being with you next time. If you want to work out with me on a regular basis, I do have my first week free. It's called the Core Club, and we have live workouts every week on Zoom. We have a calendar of workouts, but we always sort of work on a different theme every month. So those are those themes where we really work into the hips, or we work into the spine, work into the back body, or really sort of work on our presence. So it's cool. There's a little theme all the time because we're all just trying to make our everyday just a little bit more efficient, feel a little bit better. So if that's something that interests you and you want to join, come over to the Core Club. I have information below in the description. Would love to have you. All right. So thank you so much for being here, and I look forward to seeing you next time on the mat. Take care.